Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Meepolis and this is Literally Graphic. And today I'm re-reviewing Drama by Raina Telgemeier. I'm published by Scholastic. Content notes are pretty light as this is a more middle grade title, but as a story about coming of age in a situation that is implicitly, not necessarily explicitly homophobic, these children sometimes are not sure what they really want, and it gets a bit messy. People's feelings are hurt at points, but everything resolves at the end. And since it doesn't appear as if any of my other Raina Telgemeier reviews are currently live, I'll dive into her official website bio. Quote, author and illustrator of the graphic novels A Smile, Drama, Sisters, Ghosts, and Guts, all #1 New York Times bestsellers. She also adapted and illustrated 4 graphic novel versions of Anne M. Martin's Babysitter's Club series and has contributed short stories to many anthologies. Raina's accolades include 3 Eisner Awards, a Boston Globe Horn Book Honor, a Stonewall Honor, and many best of and notable lists. Raina lives and works in San Francisco, California. End quote. I have previously talked about almost all of these books and will be revisiting most of them as I have generally enjoyed all of them, especially when it comes to her nonfiction memoir series. I felt like Telgemeier's really hit an all-age note that I could genuinely enjoy. The only downside has really been her fiction title, Ghosts, which heavily involved Day of the Dead in a way that seemed to be pretty inappropriate. I'll link in the description to 2 reviews that really go in depth. I realize this is a bit of an aside, but as I had been fairly starry-eyed about Telgemeier up until that point, revisiting her now, it overshadows everything. Especially because the, as far as I can tell, made up for this story, musical at the center of this story is set in post-Civil War South, and the characters watch and briefly quote Gone with the Wind, perhaps a small detail. And I know people like to pick at my mentions of small details, but it does strike me as very odd. Why include this? I'm biased because it's the fandom I know the most people in, but why not make a fictional musical like Phantom of the Opera? Moving along with review checklist, the official Goodreads description is the following. Quote, Callie loves theater, and while she would totally try out for her middle school's production of Moon Over Mississippi, she can't really sing. Instead, she's the set designer for the drama department stage crew. And this year, she's determined to create a set worthy of Broadway on a middle school budget. But how can she, when she doesn't know much about carpentry, ticket sales are down, and the crew members are having troubles working together? Not to mention the onstage and offstage drama that occurs once the actors are chosen. And when 2 cute brothers enter the picture, things get even crazier. As always, Telgemeier is a very good illustrator. I felt like I got the twin brothers mixed up a couple of times, but I'm not sure how she could have made them more distinctive. As far as sexuality and gender goes, obviously sexuality diversity was a focus of the book. Most of this came in the flavor of apparently cis boys realizing they were gay. There was a brief mention that someone wasn't sure if they were gay or bi in a way that didn't feel biphobic, so that was nice. Gender was still pretty binary, but I did note in an earlier review that it was nice to have the main cis female character, Callie, be fairly relaxed in casual, almost tomboy attire and dressing up in a more femme style. There's also multiple crushes and kisses, and Callie is never shamed for it. So there was that. Race wasn't really mentioned at all, but I did note in my early review that I thought there was more visual racial representation than in the first couple Babysitter's Club books that I had read so far. Obviously one is an adaptation, but they were so white bread at that point, this was a nice change. Class is ignored to the same degree it usually is. There was one scene where some characters go to a bookstore, and while it was possible to hang out repeatedly in a Borders-like bookstore, although reading the cafe seems sus, it seemed more like this would much more easily and likely happen at a library. I don't know, another small quibble. Ability and disability are also ignored. To conclude, in my original review back in 2016, I rated this book 3 out of 5 stars, and I'll probably stick with it. I should also review Scholastic's graphics publications overall because I feel like this is the most diverse one I have seen so far, and that can't possibly be true and or would be concerning. More queer content with racial diversity for the kids. Bye y'all. keep reading, and resist white supremacy. And as always, Literally Graphic is created on land that should be given back to the traditional landholders, which in this case is, to my knowledge, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation.